Hello everyone, this is Faye here from Twilight Crafts, and I'm going to be just doing a quick layout using the Paige Evans May Twilight Kit Club subscription. So the base of this layout is going to be using the lovely Jennywren Stencil that was in the kit, and I've used the circle mask here. I'm going to be inking some flowers and just talking you through how I've done that. I've got three black and white photographs that I've used that I'm going to use on the layout. And the inks I've chosen, you can see I've got some green and purple flowers, and I've kind of done them in two tones. So I've got mustard seed. For the green flowers, I've done Distress Oxide Cracked Pistachio, and I've added a little bit of Mermaid Lagoon. And then for the purple flowers, I've done two-tone Villainous Potion and Shaded Lilac. So the base with Shaded Lilac and then adding a bit of depth with Villainous Potion. So bits that I've already prepped already, I got just some normal white card, quite a lightweight card, and fussy cut some flowers. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the green and 2, 4, 6 in the purple. I'm going to layer those up. And then for this piece here, I inked using the circle template. Take the stencil and just add half a flower, and then I fussy cut that, so I've got a semicircle wreath. I'm going to build a semicircle here. And so for this bit, I'm going to do some more flowers directly onto the layout and just show you how I do this. So I put a tiny little bit of tape in the middle. Now that is just going to help hold this in, and it will lift off. Okay, so I'm going to position it roughly in the center because I'm going to have the semicircle kind of building up here. And then I'm going to start the flowers. So the edge shows right on the edge here. So I'm going to start. So if I start with green there, then I'm going to start with purple and kind of alternate. So you can see it's going to stand out from here. So let's start with purple, and I'm using these blending brushes. So let's get my brushes out ready. And I always sort of wash these off after each layout that I do. So let's start with Shaded Lilac. I tend to use the lid to lift off. And I'm going to go directly onto the layout. And then I'm going to add a tiny bit of the darker purple. So I'm just going to grab another blending tool because I don't want to mix the light and dark purple. So this one I've got for the darker colour. I should really label up my brushes so I know what colours I've used. And I'm just going to put the tiniest bit of dark in the middle, and you can always go and blend back in with the light. And then when you lift off, you've got a lovely little flower there has been formed. So let's put that over to the side because I'm going to need those in a minute. And then I'm going to go Cracked Pistachio and a tiny bit of Blue Lagoon in the middle. Let's get the lids ready. So I'll use a different flower right on the edge. So Cracked Pistachio first. Some people put washi tape to hold their stencil, but I generally don't. Then a little bit of Mermaid Lagoon dusted in the middle to give a bit of depth. And then back to, let's make sure I get the right brushes, to the Shaded Lilac here. And a bit of the Villainous Potion to add a bit of shadow, a bit of depth. Back to Cracked Pistachio and a bit of Mermaid Lagoon. and then shaded lilac, a bit of the villainous potion. You don't need a lot of that because it's quite dark. I only want to give a bit of depth, and I just love these little A6 stencils. The possibilities are endless with these. So shaded lilac and villainous potion. So I hope everybody is enjoying working with their sub kit. I'll show you at the end some of the projects I've made with the sub kit. It's just, there's so many products and so many ideas. We're nearly there because I only want to do a semicircle with this layout. I have done a layout with a full wreath, which hopefully you've seen in the newsletter. A little bit of the mermaid lagoon in the middle. I'm almost there. I'm going to finish with this one. So shaded lilac first, and then I just find the two tones of ink makes it look a little bit 3D. So we've done those. So that is the greens, blues and purples, and then with the stencil in mustard seed, the stencil's got these tiny little circles which fit perfectly in the middle. So I take my little mustard seeds, try and line these up, and a tiny little yellow circle in the middle. Get them lined up. That's it. And don't forget, with the subscription kit, if you post any of your projects to our Twilight Crop and Craft Facebook group, there is a monthly prize draw to win some Jennywren cut files in your next sub kit. So then I can just lift that off, and there's your little wreath. So my semicircle wreath, should I say. So let's get all my brushes out the way, and I'm going to start now with some foam pads because I love adding a bit of dimension. So these were already fussy cut. So hopefully with this video is the kind of thing you can stop and start, have a go yourself and go back and re-watch when you want to. So let's get the foam pads off. We can get this stuck down. Okay, so I've just put a foam pad on each of the little flowers, and we will position this in place. So that's just used this again, using the mask that was in your kit. I used this one when I did the whole floral layout as well. So that's that one built up. And then what we're going to do with these is again start to layer up on foam pads. I'm going to layer the purple ones underneath and the green one on top. So each of the purple ones tuck under the green like so, and then the green one's always going to go on top, and that creates a nice little pattern. So purple underneath, green on top. I might not need all of these, I've got one left over, so that's great. So it's always better to have more than you need. So let's start. I'm going to do a foam pad in the center of the circle. You could do, if you wanted extra height, I sometimes put 2 foam pads on. but we won't waste foam pads unnecessarily because I think that is enough dimension here. Right in the middle. It does build up quite quickly. It's the fussy cutting that takes a little while, but what I did was, I'm going to put the green on the top, I did the stenciling and then I just sat in front of the TV and fussy cut the flowers because that's quite a nice thing to do, which means it doesn't seem so onerous when you're sat in front of the TV doing some fussy cutting. I quite enjoy that. It's definitely worth the time. So the green ones are going to go on top, the purple ones underneath, like so. So green on top and purple underneath. Get these last few down. Then we can start to build the rest of the layout. Purple tucked on top, so sorry, purple underneath, green on top, and one more just to go here. Okay. So there we are. That is the semicircle wreath built up. And then what I've done is from the hexagons, so from your hexagon patchwork paper, I have fussy cut lots of little hexagons, and we're going to layer these. Now when I fussy cut these, I've picked out all the tones that were blues, yellows, greens to go with the color scheme of the layout. And I'm obviously going to swap these around, so I've got a nice range of colors. And you're starting with the top row with 7 hexagons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's going to be your base. So my photographs are going to go here, and they're going to just tuck under the flowers. You can always lift up your foam pad a little bit if you want to tuck your photo under there. And then we're going to build up these hexagons. It's almost going to look like kind of a little basket, if you like, with these photos here. Now, because that one can overlap, I might trim some of these photos down, or lift your flower up, tuck your photo under, and then you can re-stick like that, because actually I want my photos tucked, and I do want that as the central photo. I'm not going to mount these. I'm going to stick them straight on. I think the photos kind of speak for themselves. So that one's going to go in the middle, and I only ever put a tiny bit of adhesive in the middle so that I can lift the photos up at any time and tuck other things under. You can always go back and put a bit of adhesive down. So this one I'm going to take off, put my photo down, and then I can re-stick our floral down with a bit of foam. There, so that one's down, that one's down. Let's get this one here. So again, probably, so if you're making along, you might want to position your photos first so that you can really tuck them under where you want them to go, and then you can always stick your little floral back down. I want that one a bit better positioned. That's it. And you can mat your photos if you want to mat your photos, entirely up to you. So we're going to assemble these. So we're going to go 7, then we're going to go so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I think we're going to go 6. No, I've got my little map here because I have planned this out. So we've got 7, then we're going to go 6, and then 5. and then 4. So let's just get gluing and see how it goes. So I'm going to start with the central one, so I know we've got that one in the middle. I'm going to just go with glue for this layer, because this layer can be fairly flat. We don't want to foam pad them all. So if you have a go at this layout, we would love to see how it turns out. You might change it up. You might decide you've got different papers left over. You might have a hexagon punch. So you could decide to just punch your own hexagons if you wish. So that's a row of 7. And then what I've got is I've kept these little bits here, the half pieces that were also on the edge of the photo. And I'm going to create a little border along the top with these little pieces here. You see, so we're just going to create a little border along the top. So I will foam pad these because that gives a nice bit of dimension, and I'm putting them in the center of each of the hexagons. So it's just paper piecing. Putting that one there. And this one here. Okay. And then the idea is to build up the different layers. Okay, so you've got a row of 7 here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then 1 2 3 4 5 6 little pieces along the top. So then we're going to go into these little pieces here. So we're going to do the next layer, but I'm going to offset, and you get like a little, you're making like a little triangle in between. So the hexagons will be almost like a kind of woven basket. Here, green, I'm kind of spreading out the different color schemes that I've got. So we've obviously got a range. I don't want all the greens together, and I'm trying to spread out the purples and the greens. So this is going to be the next layer here. Here, a green, so maybe a purple there. I'm just going to plan this a little bit so that I spread out the colors, and then finally we're going into 4. 1 2 3 4. So I'm going to swap that one around and have a yellow here so that the yellows are dotted about. So create a little triangle, just glue these on. So it's quite quick and simple once you fussy cut the hexagons. And I tend to use wet glue on this because then you can move them around a little bit, but you could foam pad these if you want to. Again, to add a little bit of dimension, I just thought I'd foam pad that top layer and keep this one, keep these just glued. So I don't need that piece, but I do need these. And finish with a blue. Now that's 2 stars, so let's move that along. Put this one here. All glued in place. There we go. So that is the basic formation of the layout, and just showing you how you can layer up those little hexagons. Now I've got a bag of bits left over from the kit, And I particularly like these titles. Now this one appealed to me because it ties in perfectly with my colour scheme, this lilac, happy. So I'm going to use that. I do want to just poke the little centres out. It's those little details. I tend to just get rid of those little centres in the letter. And I think I'm going to lay that kind of over the photo there, happy. And then I can't resist some little hearts. So I'm not too sure where these will go. I might play around with these after the live. Just position some of these little puffy florals are just gorgeous, but I am sticking to the colour tone, so I'm picking out, and that's why I picked the Distress Oxides carefully to correspond with the layout. Can't resist that little puffy heart there. Let's see what else we've got left. We've got a few of these little bits, so these tuck quite nicely to give a little bit of dimension here. And there's another greeny one which I can't resist tucking under there. So you've got kind of the purple and the green there, and then I've got the green and the purple there either side. The rest have kind of got yellows on, and the yellows might work because these are sort of the mustard yellow, and because it's all from the Paige Evans range, it all kind of ties in perfectly. So I'm going to put a yellow one there. Let's see what else we've got. Quite like this one, and that kind of tucks under there. And there's this lovely little mustard yellow one here. Can I get away with tucking that? So again, you can just lift them off, tuck a little floral under. That one didn't want to stick on the puffy heart, so I'll put a dab of glue, and that will soon hold with the Nuvo. So I think that I don't want to add any others. I think because of the stencil doing most of the work, it doesn't need much more embellishing than that. So that is the finished layout using the Paige Evans May subkit, and hopefully you'll enjoy creating that one. So just before I go, I'll show you some of the layouts I've made using the kit. I have made a little card from the scraps that were left over, and there's a little reel, an Instagram reel, showing how I made this little pocket using the wax resist technique. And these are the squares from the Paige Evans square paper, and then I just cut those into little triangles. There's that one. I also used the lovely Jennywren cut file scallop cut file here, inked in blue, and then I fussy cut those beautiful hexagons and added some foam pads, and I used the little frames, the chipboard frames here, and some floral ephemera and a title. So that was a nice, simple, easy one to make. I then got stitching, and you've got some thread in your kit. Now the thread that's in your kit, you've got one skein of thread, and that's enough to do the whip stitch. So this is a whip stitch, just a basic sort of over and over stitch. One skein of thread is enough to do all 4 letters in your kit with that baby blue thread. If you're doing blanket stitch, you will need about 1.5 to 2 skeins of thread. So it's worth noting you will need more thread if you're doing blanket stitch. That seems to eat quite a bit of extra thread. And then following the theme from the layout I've just done, this one, again using the stencil, fussy cutting, and Debbie and I created this during one of the lives. So on the newsletter there is a QR code that links you to this live if you want to have a go at that one. The other layout that I created is using some bits from the kit, but I bought an extra piece of paper. So this one we've got in the shop, it's just £1.10. And this is the lovely Paige Evans rainbow. It's I'll have to look at the number of this one. It's on the website, and I used a Jennywren stitch file. This is the picture wheel number 48, and I stitched in a colour. So again, this is on our YouTube channel. This was made during one of our live craft alongs. So you can see I've used the puffy stickers, some of the ephemera here, and I've added some of my own stash. So if you haven't tried a Jennywren stitch file, I would definitely recommend it. I've finally got the hang of chain stitch. It's by no means perfect, as you can see, but that is part of the kind of homemade charm, I think. So back to the layout I have just created using the stencil and those lovely hexagons in that green and lilac and mustard colourway. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. Do share your makes on our Facebook page, Twilight Crop and Craft. We would love to see what you make. Thanks, everyone. Bye.